Should I start this off with a captain's log? Captain's log, stardate 200110323. Point 14. Yeah, alright. I think we'll not do that again. That was kind of nerdy. But it was sincere. It was sincerely nerdy. Take it for what it was. So what you're watching right now is not too far distant from this book here, which is my very first travel journal. When I went to Taiwan the first times, before I got married and after, I decided to get a book and write my adventures in the book, in my inimitably bad handwriting, because we would be going places, in particular in Taiwan, that were pretty far off the beaten track. I mean, it really felt like the third world at times. And computer access was not there, and I wanted, and I would forget things. It's amazing how much you forget when you travel, and you see all these new things, and you forget them. It's sad, but the little things that really stand out at the time fade away with the failures of the human mind to hold that stuff behind. And so I started doing that, and I did that for a few trips, and then it got to the point where I either had a computer with me or I had computer access within a day at any given time. And so I would start writing these things up within a day of two of when I had experienced them, and I would email them off to everyone I know, which nowadays is called spamming, but back then it was called email. And tell them, what had happened. And then later I would take those and I would probably write them up and put them on a web page, rewrite them, kind of cohere them into a cohery thing. So that equated eventually to ubiquitous computer access, where I was pretty much always had my laptop with me, and then later on a phone that could do these kinds of things. And so the book became unnecessary, and it has moved into a digital form, first in my blog for blogging when I'm traveling, which ultimately became just your everybody's ordinary blog, where I would talk about things and interests to me, or of outrage to me, or to just annoy people. Now I use Facebook to annoy people whenever possible, because that's just really annoyance central for me as well. And my blogging has been going away. It's been fading. It's disappearing because of the damn Twitter, which makes you think, yeah, there's a thought. I can just whip that out in 140 characters or less, but frankly, no, you can't. It doesn't work that way. Twitter is insufficient to the task of journaling who you are and what you are and where you're going. And so now I turn to this. I'm going to start doing videos. I have my video camera with me at all times on my phone, so I can just try to do this a little more extemporaneously. It may not be as coherent as some of my blog entries might have been had I been trying really hard, but it will be more immediate. So to start with, why am I doing this? Well, I think I just told you why I'm doing this, but there's two actual reasons why I continue to do this. And it's not ego is not one of them. It's not so that my opinion or my words or my thoughts get out there so that everyone can see how amazingly clear I am on what I think about and my opinions on things and my ideas. True though that might be. It is for my kids. When I was young, in the Dark Ages, in the Dark Ages in this case being the 1960s, my mother died when I was just a few weeks shy of being 3 years old. And I have not the slightest memory of her in any way, shape, or form. I have pictures in a photo album. I have memories of other people that have related them to me. And I have just a handful of letters which she wrote to my father's mother in the form of a diary from me prior to me being born and subsequently after me being born. So it was, kind of a cutesy thing. But really, in those letters, more than anything else, is the only place I get a sense of who my mother was. Even though they are fictitiously written from my point of view, it shines through who she was, or to some degree who she was. Certainly as much as I will ever know. And had she lived to be alive today, as my father is still alive today, they would be different people. My daddy is a different person than who he was when I was that age. And I have no glimpse into that. I have no glimpse into who he was except what I remember. And memory doesn't work. No one's memory works. You remember things that aren't true. You put pieces together. It is, unfortunately, that don't match. It is, unfortunately, the human nature to do that, and the human biology that does that. You remember false things. The camera, they say, doesn't lie. Or at least, I may be remembering it now wrong on camera, but I won't remember this wrong in the future because here it is. And this is so partially for my kids, to know who I am, to know why I am who I am, and someday they'll look back on this and go, what's a video? But hopefully they'll still have some way to view it and understand it. And so that's the end of this, my first installment, which is just really a preface to my next installment, which will be coming later. Maybe even today. Things to do tonight. Might blog about them.